So forgive me for the background noise that you're hearing probably in the background, that I'm not going to be able to edit out this video. We got a few other extra things that's going on in the background, but I wanted to record this because it was in my spirit to do so. So I'm just going to briefly tell you about 3 visions I had last night prior to going to bed, because I think the 3 visions, especially based on the interpretation that was provided for us, that is essential to the time frame that we're living in. If Holy Spirit speaks to any of you in regards to these visions that I had, please feel free to share them either by commenting on this YouTube post or our blog site, which you might be watching this content from, reading or watching this content from, or you can email us at our business email at info@newfordministries.org, which should come up on the screen. Like I mentioned before, I had 3 visions last night, and when I woke up this morning, I had completely forgotten about the visions. End up at some point this morning taking my granddaughter back home, and then on the drive back to my home, this is when God brought back, Holy Spirit brought back those visions that I had last night. But when he brought them back to my memory, he brought them back like in titles. He actually gave me a title for each vision, and that's how I was able to recall. The first one is titled The Garden That Became Corrupted. The Garden That Became Corrupted. The second one was titled The Ground Beef That Turns Brown. Ground Beef That Turns Brown. And the last one I had, and it's in the order that I'm giving you them, was titled, it's slipping my mind. Give me a second. Oh, The Destroy Pill. Okay? But I'm not going to tell the visions in the order in which I had them. I'm going to start with the ground beef one, then the pill, and then I don't know if I'm going to tell the vision of the first one I had, which was the one where the erected garden that became corrupted. I think I said the title wrong earlier. It's the erected garden that became corrupted. Because it was so much details in that particular vision, and I don't think I can describe verbally or in written word what I saw. I think I would do a disservice to what I saw. So as I get to the first vision I have, which I'm going to tell last, if God puts in my spirit to keep talking, I'll keep talking. If not, then I will do that one in written form to the best of my ability. All right, so this is how the visions went. This was the second vision I had. And in the second vision, there was a person with me where I was standing. I couldn't see the person, but they had in their hand a package of ground beef meat. The kind that you would find in the grocery store. Was a large ground beef meat container, clear covering, plastic covering over the meat. It was just sitting in this little black tray. And the person went to hand me the ground beef like this for me to look at it. So I'm looking at the ground beef as they're holding it in front of me. And when I looked at it, it was a nice looking, healthy reddish pink color that we would normally see when we know we're purchasing a good pack of ground beef from the grocery store. But then within a few moments, the ground beef starts to turn brown. And by the time it completely turns brown, the whole entire meat is this nasty looking ground beef that it made me felt sick to my stomach now. And I heard myself ask in the vision, Lord, what does this mean? Are you trying to say that the meat, such as like a ground beef, are going to become bad, polluted? And I heard in the spirit a voice said, yes. And that's no other explanation was given. I didn't ask any other questions after that. And then it moved on to the next vision. And in the next vision, what I saw, let me go get what I saw. So in the next vision, which is called the destroyed pill, I saw a pill. I'm on certain medications because certain health issues that I'm battling with. And this is one of my pills that I have to take. I hope you can see that well in the screen. And you notice it has that indentation in it. Now this blue pill is like a light blue color and tint. Most of the time when I get it filled, it's this pink color. But this one's light blue in tint. But in the vision, the pill was white in color. And it had this exact indentation it has in the middle. Yeah, right there. It has in the middle of this pill, right? But the pill was white. And I've had the white color ones before in the past too. And all of a sudden, there was a whole stack of pills. They weren't sitting in anything, they were just piled up on one another. And all of a sudden, in the middle part of this pill where the indentation is, and all the way to the edges, it just powdered up, sunk, to where there was nothing there other than the powder that was left. And all you could see was the rim, the edges around the pill. You could see the bottom part of the pill, and then the powder that had broken up in the pill. And all of the pills, it was a whole bunch of pile of pills, simultaneously did this, right? And that was the last vision I had, which now we're going to go to the first one. So the second vision I had was the ground beef that turns brown. The third vision I had was the destroyed pill, which I try to best describe what I was seeing in the vision. But this first vision I had was the garden that erected that became corrupted. So I was standing on an edge of this garden-like place. If there was the best way I can describe what it looked like, if we can imagine for a minute what paradise may have looked like when God created it for Adam and Eve, that's what that looked like. It was just pure beautiful. And I was standing there, and I was just looking around, taking in the scenes. And you could tell that there was high and low valley areas in this garden-like area, right? So then as I'm looking around, all of a sudden this man, that's what he looked like, come running from the east part of the garden, running towards the west, right? And so as he's running, you can tell when he's hitting these valley-like low areas in the garden, and when he's hitting like a high point in the valley, because when he first started running through the field, this garden, I could see his head all the way down to the lower part of his legs. Like the only thing I couldn't really see was his feet. And so he's running, and then when he hits a low part, all I can see is the top part of his head. And then he'll pop up as he's running, and then you can see that full part of his body. And as he's running, you could tell he's evidently following the path based on the way he's running, because he's going in curve instead of a straight path. So he's evidently following a certain path. Then he gets to a part in the garden, which looks like it was like in the middle of the garden. And there's this huge mountain-like stone. And I know it's a stone, but if you're looking at it, and if you're not familiar with the garden, to you it just looks like a bunch of trees and weeds and vines that is just growing in that area, because that's what it looks like if no one tells you there's a stone that these vines are growing over that looks like trees and bushes and things of that nature. And so he gets to this big stone And he realized he can't go any further because he can't run through them because they're not trees or bushes and vines. And so he starts to jump up and down, trying to find something he can grab to pull himself up. And you could tell he's either running from something, trying to escape from something, or either he's chasing something. I couldn't tell either or because I only ever saw him, but you could tell he was distressed either way. All right. And so as he's jumping up and down, trying to find a way to climb over this huge mountain-like stone, he eventually just disappeared. And shortly after he disappeared, in the middle of this huge stone, a boulder, a square or a rectangle-like boulder, start coming out of the stone. It stayed attached to the mountain. It stayed attached to the mountain, but it was like something was pushing the significant size boulder from out of this mountain, right? And as this was happening, the garden itself started to shift. There was other kind of weird like plants that was growing up out of the garden that was unusual than the other plants. Even the ground was starting to raise and lower in different spots that it wasn't there before. And even the ground itself was shifting from the east or from the right to the left. And it would do it periodically. It would be stillness and all this movement of planetary coming up and moving downward. And then once that planetary stops moving up and downward, then there's a shift. Then that planetary will start moving up and down again in different spots. And then there's another shift. All right. So that all this was happening, right? Then once that finally stopped, this boulder, you couldn't see anybody doing it, but it was like something was carving something in the boulder that had shifted or moved out from the big mountain, but it's still attached to this mountain. And so you could see something was quickly carving something into it. And when the first carving stopped, this throne-like huge, humongous chair appeared. So you have this huge mountain stone. This boulder comes erecting itself out of the stone, but still attached to the mountain. And then the outermost part of the stone forms itself into this stone-like throne chair. Okay? And then shortly after that, another carving started happening in front of the chair. Not chair, a throne. And when it was finished, you could see like this king-like status was engraved or carved into the chair. So it was another extension from that stone. And he was sitting in this throne-like stone chair that was carved or pushed out of this mountain. And when I looked at it, what it reminded me of is like the pharaohs during the Egyptian time, because it had that crown-like hat or whatever it is that they would wear on their head. It was shaped in that shape. It had the type of jewelry you would see around the pharaoh's neck that we were seeing pictures and books and things of that nature or in movies, and that top and that funny looking like cut skirt, short skirt that they would wear. He had on that with some sandals, so I'm watching this and I'm like, what is this? What is going on? And then that was the end of that vision. And then like I said, the ground beef vision happened, and then the pill vision happened, and then I went off to sleep. And as I said, I didn't remember those visions when I first woke up this morning. It wasn't until I was on my way after dropping my granddaughter off that I remembered the three visions, because God gave me those titles. And the title was the ground beef turns brown, the destroyed pill, the erected garden that became corrupted. And so as soon as I got home, I reached out to Felicia, told her about the visions that God reminded me that I had last night, and immediately God gave her interpretation to those visions, which I really think is significant in our town. Now, we talked about a lot of stuff, but I didn't record everything. I just only record what I felt God wanted us to share. And so I'm sharing this information, this 3 vision I had, and the interpretation of the 3 visions I had with the body of Christ. And if anyone wants to add to it and share that with our ministry, please feel free to do so. You can either comment here on this YouTube page or the blog, wherever you might be viewing this information from, or you can send us an email at info@newfordministries.org. I hope this information benefits you one way or another. We know how we plan to apply the information that was provided through our ministry, and I hope that you all would take the information in the dreams and visions, this particular dream and visions, or any dream and vision we share, seriously, pray into them, and let God guide you and how you might need to make use of them, or provide for yourself, or protect you and your family and those who are part of your ministry as we continue to move forward into the day when we all are raptured in the return of the Lord. Because I'm going to repeat something that I don't usually say, but I feel in my spirit to say it. But my ministry partner says it a lot, because Christ is coming back soon. The signs that we're seeing going on in our world today is clear evidence. And if you are studying and reading the Bible, showing yourself approved by reading the Bible and interpreting it accurately, you can see and know where we are in the stream of time. And it is evident. I don't care what anybody else is saying out there. Christ is returning soon. He's first returning for his bride, those who have proven themselves righteous and who are ready for the rapture when it comes. And then we will see the unfortunate day of the Great Tribulation, that 7-year period, which would eventually lead to the Lord's return and the validation of what many of us are waiting for, and what the Bible preaches throughout the whole entire Bible, but says it very clearly in the end. All will know that the Lord is the Lord, and he has subdued Satan the devil, crushed him, and put him in his proper place, and then his kingdom will reign forever. And you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it, because you're too wrapped up in your own pride and fleshly desires of this world that will lead to nowhere.
Well, I'll start with the garden, because in the beginning it was all started in the garden. And this garden that was erected was corrupted and out of a stone, because that's where many people carve their idols. It's from out of a stone, and out of a stone there was a throne erected, and then out of the erecting of a throne was a man that sat upon it, and he had influence to rule. The corruption that is transpiring not only in medical or scientific arena, but also that which has to do with our foods. The divisions are one and the same in the agenda and the corruption of this system that is enthroned by an entity or a deity that was erected by man out of falsehood and falsity. So what I'm sensing is that there's an agenda to attack the food, and there's an agenda to attack the medicine, the medication. That what is it called? What was the title of that vision?
You just said the destroyed pill.
The destroyed pill. So they wanted to destroy the effectiveness of the medication. So that's their agenda. that what you purchased to do certain things, so what was dissolved out of the pill was the effectiveness of the pill to do or accomplish a certain thing in your body for which you were taking the pills for. And it's not just based on your metoprolol, but it's all the medication that is engineered and manufactured. And your food industry, the corruption of the food industry, because they want to destroy this system of governance that has been corrupted, wants to destroy the food that people eat in order to, the agenda has always been made known for depopulation. So they want to get rid of the infirm in order to, they can depopularize the world for their own use or their own agenda.